Good morning or good evening, sorry. Today is Tuesday, August 27th, and I'd like to call the Plan Commission to order. It is shortly after 6 p.m. The first item is the roll call. Guess I can probably call the roll. I am Mayor Kim Smith. I am here. Mike Milkey.
Here.
Jared Holter.
Here.
Jan Brock is excused absence unless she's online. Is Jan online? Nope, okay, she is absent. Tom Smith?
Here.
Eric Archer?
Here.
Bill Lethan? It is everybody. Item 2, consideration and action on the minutes from the previous meeting.
I'll move for approval of the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Bill Lethan. It's been seconded by Eric Archer to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Is there any discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. That motion carries unanimously. Item 3 is public input. This is an opportunity for members of the public to speak to the Plan Commission this evening. If you choose to do so, please begin by stating your name and your address and limiting your comment to 3 minutes. And just for information, we do have multiple public hearings on the agenda, and you will have an opportunity to speak during the public hearings as well. But this is general public input, if anyone would like to speak. Come ahead, that's fine. Begin by saying your name and address.
My name is Joyce Dively. I live at 711 Pleasant Court, Onalaska, and I'm here representing the Onalaska Art Keepers Group in Onalaska. I'm here to talk about number 12, which is the special exemption application on our ordinance or for the ordinance to allow a mural on the primary facade of the structure located at 215 Main. We're a group that's trying to bring some beautification to the city. We feel that this is going to be a really great addition. I think everybody got a picture of what it's going to look like. It's going to be a scene. Basically, we tried to look to the west, and we're going to try to replace that scene on the upper facade of the building. We feel it's important that we do these sort of things in our city because, you know, it kind of sets us apart and makes it special. We have a great artist that has been contracted with, and we have filled out all the permits and everything. And hope to start this week yet if this gets approved. The owner is excited. The group is excited. And I know we have this little deviation that's on the facade. And in reference to that, I would like to say that I don't know. I know I've talked to Dan Wick and Katie about there was a art survey done like a year ago. Yeah. And we're still kind of waiting to see if they're trying to get all the things gathered together. And I think if all the things are gathered together, we probably wouldn't have to even be doing this. I'm not really sure. But so anyway, that's just something that, you know, I think the group is aware of and the city is aware of. We do have a crane, you know, that's coming, that's being donated. And I think that's really about it. I do think it's important that we continue to do these things in our city. I look at the great sculpture we have and, you know, some of the things that the group has done. And, you know, I think we've done some positive things for the city. Sadly, I cannot stay this evening. We had a dear friend that passed away and I have to be on a conference call at 6:30 to, you know, kind of give my condolences. So I hope you will vote yes on number 12. And let this move forward. I think it's going to be a positive addition to our city. And hopefully my dear neighbor, Mike Milkey, will let me know if we got a yes or a no. So that yes, we can meet the crane tomorrow or no, we can't. So if you would vote yes, I'd be really appreciative. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Joyce. Does anyone else have public input this evening? Step up, sir, state your name and your address.
Hello, my name's Justin Byers, 2435 Kraus Road. I'm here to speak on number 5, the rezoning of residential 1 to residential 2 tiny homes and twin homes. Here tonight to speak on the fact that this is going to increase significantly the traffic in the area. Currently, there's only 5 homes that access that road. With the addition of a 6th, it would only be an additional family. Switching that to a twin home is going to increase the traffic along with the parking at the end of the cul-de-sac. It is a very popular walking path for many people access that back area in County Road S. And also it's one of the bigger lots, but it's also gonna be difficult to get a twin home in there. Again, with the parking and the dimensions that they're gonna have in the substation. I just don't think it's right for the community. Everything past the first couple of blocks is all single residential homes. And we'd like to preserve that. Thank you.
Thank you. Could you please restate your name? I didn't quite catch
Yep.
it.
Justin Byers, BYERS.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else that would like to address the Plan Commission this evening under general public input? Anyone else wishing to give public input? Third and final call for general public input. Okay, that portion is now closed and we'll move on for consideration and possible action on the following items. Item 4 is the public hearing to adopt the Live On a 2040 comprehensive plan for the city of Onalaska via resolution 24-2024. Katie, do you have a few words you'd like to say about that?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I believe Andy Cross with the Lakota Group is with us. So he was going to do a quick introduction and then I was going to give a couple updates. So
Perfect.
take it away, Andy.
Thanks,
Welcome.
Katie. I'm Madam Mayor, members of the commission. It's nice to join you. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you for accommodating my virtual attendance. I'm way over on the other side of the state here in Kenosha, so it's much easier on the mileage to just to attend this way. And I just want to thank you, certainly Madam Mayor and members of the Long Range Plan Commission that were really very important in guiding and shepherding this process. We started back in the summer of 2023 and held a lot of really successful community open houses. And the participation in our online surveys was wonderful. And overall, the Lakota Group and our team here are very proud of this community-driven plan. We were there last month to hold a final open house and had a really good informal discussion with the Plan Commission. So I certainly don't want to go through everything again now. But I just hope that you're as happy with this plan as we are. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you might all have about the process and the framework or the structure of the plan. Those conclude really my prepared comments, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for that. Does the Plan Commission have any questions for Mr. Cross? Nope. Okay, Katie?
I would like to note there were a couple updates from the document that was provided to you originally back a month ago. We have made some textual edits, errors, oversights that have occurred throughout the plan, so those were all fixed. We also made some minor modification to the future land use map designations and definitions to make sure they're tying back to existing zoning districts that we have within the plan. And lastly, we made some future edits to the future land use map, working with particular property owners with new lot divisions, much like the agenda item we have later on with Excel's rezoning. They had amended the future land use map previously, and we had to carry that through. So there were some things that we were catching as we were going through that map, making sure it would be consistent with the new uses that we'd like to see in our community moving forward. So we had posted the plan at City Hall, at the library. It was also online for the duration, and we completed the necessary statutory public hearings to notify for the public hearing this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion from the commission before we accept the resolution? Okay, we'll get a motion then.
I'll make a motion to approve the adoption of the Live On a 2040 comprehensive plan for the city of Onalaska as outlined in agenda item 4 and resolution 24-2024.
I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor by Eric Archer. It's been seconded by Tom Smith to adopt the resolution as he described. Is there any other discussion?
Mayor,
Go ahead, Tom.
I'd just like to compliment the city staff and the planning, the whole process. I was very impressed with it. It was nice to get the citizen input, and I went to quite a few of the different sessions, and it was really nice to see a good turnout and the post-its and there's a lot of information that was presented, and it was pretty integrated into some of the final solutions. So kudos to everybody, Katie and her staff and everybody that was part of that, and the planning coordinator there too. It was a good process.
Okay, thank you for that. Anyone else? All right, the motion on the floor is to approve the resolution. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Yes?
The public hearing.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh.
Okay, thank you. Good call, Jared. All right, so we have to back up. That is an invalid vote. And I'll now open the public hearing. For anyone wishing to speak in favor of resolution 24-2024. Anyone wishing to speak in favor, now is the time to do so. Second call for anyone wishing to speak in favor. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak in favor of this resolution. Okay, that portion of the public hearing is now closed, and I'll ask if anyone would like to speak against this resolution. Second call for anyone wishing to speak against. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak against this resolution. That being said, the public hearing is now closed, and I'll now turn this matter over to the Plan Commission. So you can make a new, that previous vote is just completely not valid because we hadn't held the public hearing.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the adoption of the Live On 2040 Comprehensive Plan for the city of Onalaska as outlined in agenda item 4 and resolution 24-2024.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Eric Archer. It's been seconded by Tom Smith. Is there any other discussion? Not seeing or hearing all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. And the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. I'm sorry for that. That was completely my error. Okay, item 5 is a public hearing for the rezoning application to rezone a parcel of land from single-family residential R1 district to low-medium density residential R2 district located at 2445 Krause Road to allow for the construction of a twin home. This is tax parcel ID number 18-55940, and the applicant is K-Don LLC. Would anyone like to speak in favor of this rezoning application? Please come on up. Start by saying your name and your address. Welcome.
My name is K-Don Peterson, and
I'm Gina Peterson.
we own the property at 2445 Krause Road. And I did that subdivision. I'm a land surveyor, and I did that subdivision. And as a partial payment, I agreed to take a lot for the subdivision. And now got to the point where we feel it's time to do something with that lot. And we thought the best use would be, because we'd like to downsize our home in Onalaska. And we'd like to do a twindle. So, and we'd be a owner occupied in one of the units. And do you have any comment?
No, it's just, we did bring some Google Earth pictures of it.
It's.
We have pictures of it.
It's,
Here,
We're familiar with the project.
okay,
the parcel is located at the end of Krause Road,
Mhm.
where it dead ends at, with no access at Moose Road.
Yes.
And it's a good sized lot, and we contacted all the neighbors in the area and told them what we intended to do, and have heard
I
no.
think this gentleman that got up and spoke
Oh.
was, yeah,
Oh,
I think he was the only one that, yeah.
I
So,
didn't-
yeah, we just.
My hearing's not best, so I didn't hear it.
So, yes, because I spoke with Katie to find out what we would need to do, and she recommended that, and that's what we did.
So we,
I guess I don't know what else. we-
Yep, this is just a hearing, so you just talk and we listen, and when you're done, you can sit down and we'll continue on.
Okay,
It's not a dialogue.
you know, and it's not the most desirable lot because of the substation behind it.
yeah,
And
it's
so-
adjacent to that big
We just thought,
substation
well,
there.
Possibility might be the twin home and we'd be living in one of it, the one half, and sell the other half.
And there's only one adjacent residential parcel. The rest of them are across the road or
Yeah.
the neighbor, and we've talked to the neighbor and contacted all the neighbors, let them know. Other than that, we don't have a final plan. We just wanted to inquire to see what the probabilities of obtaining a unit like that would be. And of course, first thing I'd do is design a unit or have a unit designed and then review it with the city. And go from there. Any questions?
It's just a time for us to listen. We can't really ask you any questions. So we hear you. Thank you. Thank you for your input.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
This is-
thank
this
you.
is new.
It's easy. It's easy. Unless I mess up again. Then we just have to redo it. Okay, that was in favor. Is there anybody else wishing to speak in favor of this rezoning application this evening? Second call for anyone wishing to speak in favor. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak in favor of the rezoning application for this parcel. Okay, that part of the hearing is now closed, and I'll ask if anyone would like to speak against. If anyone would like to speak against the rezoning of this parcel. Second call for anyone wishing to speak against. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak against the rezoning of this parcel on Krause Road. Okay, the public hearing is now closed, and I'll ask our city planner to give us a rundown recap on this item. Katie?
Thank you, Mayor. Before you this evening is proposed rezoning to take a property from low-density residential to low-medium-density residential to allow for the construction of a twin home. The property in question satisfies all the minimum lot requirements pertaining to lot size, setback, and our necessary dimensions in order to construct a twin home on the parcel zoned R2. As a public hearing has been held, testimony should be considered. City staff have put 7 conditions of approval forward with this development. Thank you.
Thank you. With that being said, what is the desire of the Plan Commission this evening?
I'll make a motion that we approve the rezoning application to rezone the parcel of land from single-family residential R1 district to a low-medium density R2 district located at 2445 Krause Road to allow the construction of a twin home tax parcel 18-5594-0 as stated in Agenda 5. The
Second,
7 conditions.
second,
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Tom Smith. It's been seconded by Mike Milky to approve the rezoning application with the 7 conditions. Is there any further discussion this evening on this item? Mike?
yeah, I think, one thing we've learned with housing studies and things like that in our city is one of the problems we have is we have single-family homes that are being occupied for a long time. People are not moving, hindering the growth of, younger families into the community. So something like this where they're planning on downsizing, creating it really 2 extra homes for people in the community, I think is a benefit, and that's why I'm supporting it.
Thank you for that. Any other comments?
Just have 2 questions on our little map that you provided. The property in question is that one that's got the blue.
At the end of the
square?
road?
Yes.
Yeah, right here, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I went out there and looked at, and do we have any, how can I put it? There's it's extremely close to Hauser Road. The only thing not connecting the cul-de-sac with Hauser is some little barricades up there. Are we confident that, well, is there any thought of connecting the cul-de-sac to Hauser Road? And are we confident of where the driveway will be for this property?
Okay, we'll let Jared answer that question.
Okay, so this has a little history to it. This area actually was developed in 1999. The subdivision was put in.
originally Krause Road connected to Moose Road. It did actually go through. At that time, relations with bordering municipalities were strained at times. And the municipality next door decided to, who actually maintains Moose Road, actually shut down the road. So they barricaded the road off, said we couldn't have access to that road. So the city then went out the next year and actually put in the barricades that you see today. They're still out there. And actually, if you notice in that parcel, there's a small circle of land that the city acquired from the property owner to put in a very small, undersized, but cul-de-sac bulb on that lot. So we could actually get a turnaround, so we get a plow to turn around in that area. But as far as driveways go, I think the design could be accommodated to make the driveways work. We could work with the property owner to make the driveways work coming out. It would probably be something where once the driveways go in, I don't envision anybody really parks down there right now. But I mean, we could work with that too, but I think the driveways would work in the lot.
Okay, and that's not really the item on the agenda this evening, so. Any other discussion? Okay, the motion on the floor is to approve with 7 conditions. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 6 is a public hearing for a rezoning application to rezone a parcel of land from public and semi-public P1 district to high-density residential R4 district located on State Road 35 to allow for a future land transfer from Broham Investments LLC, tax parcel 18-2096-64, and the applicant here is the City of Onalaska. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of this item, I'll open the public hearing for those. Second call for anyone wishing to speak in favor. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak in favor of this rezoning application. That portion of the public hearing is now closed, and I'll ask if anyone would like to speak against the rezoning of this parcel of land. Second call for anyone wishing to speak against. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak against the rezoning of this parcel of land. The public hearing is now closed, and I'll ask our city planner to introduce this item to the Plan Commission this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. The property in question is currently owned by the City of Onalaska, and it is owned public and semi-public. The request of the city is to rezone that to high-density residential district that was outlined in a development agreement that was approved by both the Plan Commission and the Common Council a couple of years ago. The land in question will be traded with Broham Investments LLC in exchange for a portion of their parcel of land that is the exact same size that would eventually be added to the Onalaska Aquatic Center parcel. As the public hearing should be considered, has been held, testimony should be considered. City staff have put 3 conditions of approval tied to this development. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Katie, what is the pleasure of the Plan Commission this evening?
I'll move to approve for the rezoning application to rezone parcel of land from public and semi-public P1 district to high-density residential R4 district located at State Road 35 to allow for future land transfer to Broham Investment LLC, tax parcel number 18-2096-64.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Mike Milkey. It's been seconded by Eric Archer to approve this rezoning application. Is there any discussion with the 3 conditions? Thank you for clarifying that for the record. Is there any discussion? Not seeing or hearing any discussion. All those in favor of approving this with the 3 conditions, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you for that. Item 7 is a public hearing for a rezoning application to rezone a parcel of land from mixed-use commercial MUC district to heavy industrial I2 district This is located at East Plaza Park to allow for the construction of a new Xcel Energy service station. This is tax parcel ID number 184456-2, and the applicant is Northern States Power Company. If there's anyone here today that would like to speak in favor of this rezoning, I'll open the public hearing, asking for those. Welcome.
My name is Tim Mosseth. I'm a real estate consultant with Xcel Energy. We have a few of our project team members here tonight, two on Zoom and two here in attendance. We're very excited about this project and we're available tonight to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the rezoning application? Second call for anyone wishing to speak in favor of this rezoning application. Okay, that portion is now closed, and I'll ask if anyone would like to speak against the rezoning application for this parcel of land for the Xcel Energy Service Station. Second call for anyone wishing to speak against. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak against this rezoning. Not seeing any additional. I will now declare the public hearing closed and ask our city planner, Katie Aspenson, to introduce this item to the council, to the commission.
Thank you, Mayor. The property in question is located at East Plaza Park. It is owned by Northern States Power Company, previously by Steve Nicolai. Last winter, the Plan Commission and Common Council saw the certified survey map that came through subdividing off this portion of land. This is the portion of land that is now being requested to be rezoned from mixed-use community district to heavy industrial district to allow for the construction of a new Xcel Energy Service Center and approximate 100,000 square foot facility for electric and gas distribution options. This area was previously modified in the 2015 comprehensive plan for the future land use map in 2023 to accommodate this development. And it is anticipated that a planned unit development is forthcoming, which will give additional details to the Plan Commission and Common Council about the development in particular. Public hearing comments should be considered. City staff have put together 8 conditions of approval for this development. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I'll turn this matter over to the Plan Commission.
I'll move for approval of the rezoning application to rezone the parcel, tax parcel 18-4456-2 with the 8 conditions as described by.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Bill Lethan. It's been seconded by Tom Smith to approve this rezoning application with the 8 conditions. Is there any further discussion?
I just have a question. Didn't we essentially approve something very similar to this a couple months ago?
Okay, we'll defer to Katie for that one.
Like, yeah, they were gonna expand their garage.
So back in 2023, there was a request from Nicolai and Xcel Energy to modify our future land use plan that was originally all mixed use community. And they had come forward with this project in anticipation. So we had amended the plan, the future land use map at that time to accommodate the industrial development, knowing that a certified survey map would have to occur, a rezoning would have to occur, a development agreement has already occurred with Steve Nicolai. So all of these reviews have occurred by this body and the Common Council. So this is the next step. You will likely see this project back one more time in the upcoming months as they're finaling out the city approvals that are necessary to allow their project to move forward.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments regarding this rezoning? Mike?
It just seems like a perfect spot for it to go based on centrally located for everywhere. So I think it makes total sense.
Okay, any other questions or comments? All right, the motion on the floor is to approve this rezoning application with the 8 conditions. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Okay, item number 8 is a public hearing for a general development plan application to create a planned unit development to facilitate a proposed addition to the St. Patrick Elementary School, as well as site improvements and request deviations from the Unified Development Code, including but not limited to reducing the total number of parking stalls required, waiving the installation of landscape parking lot islands, and reducing the building setback requirements as requirements located at 127 11th Avenue North. This is tax parcel ID number 181500-0, and the applicants are Borton Construction Incorporated and St. Patrick's Parish. With that being said, I'll open the public hearing and ask for anyone wishing to speak in favor of this general development plan application. Welcome.
Good evening. So I'm Dan Miller with Borton Construction, also a parishioner of St. Patrick's. So I've been working with the church to put together this project to expand the school. As part of our project, we're looking to demolish an old convent section of the school and replace that with a new addition that would encompass half a dozen new classrooms, some ADA accessibility improvements, and a new office suite, kind of enhancing the security of the school in the process. I've been working with Katie to go through the process. You'll see her report as well as my letter and then the deviations that we're requesting. And I'm here to answer any further questions that you guys would have. So,
Thank you for that.
thank you.
Okay, anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this general development plan at St. Patrick's Parish? Second call for anyone wishing to speak in favor. Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak in favor of this general development plan. That portion of the public hearing is now closed, and I'll ask if anyone would like to speak against the development plan at St. Patrick's. Welcome.
My name is Mary Halstead and I live at 842 6th Avenue North. But own the property at 204 11th Avenue North, directly across the street from the part of the school. I'm hugely in favor of doing everything that can be done for the school. I just don't want to see all parking lot from 204 11th Avenue. I don't want to see no trees. I don't want to see, I just want it to not look industrial. That's all. So I'm in favor of doing all the things for the school. I'm just not in favor, probably because I don't understand what all of the waiving the installation of landscape parking lots. I don't know how many that means or what it would look like, or reducing the total number of parking stalls, because the parking would be on the street, directly across the street from where the driveway of the house is. So I think I just need to maybe understand that a little more. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak against the planned general development plan? Welcome.
Thank you. My name's Thomas Veerling. I own the commercial property at 1101 Main Street, Better Hearing Center. And my only concern with, I have known nothing about the St. Pat's expansion or any of that. My only concern is the parking. And we're the only really parking lot that's near there. Otherwise it's street parking or maybe behind the post office or something. But we regularly have to remind people that park there that it's not the church's parking lot and it's for our private business and they need to move their car. And we try to be nice about it. We want to be a good neighbor. We're not out to tow cars and do all this nonsense, but it's already a problem. I'm afraid that if the parking is modified to accommodate what the church wants to do, it's just going to be worse. And so I don't know, unless they can buy other properties around or turn them into parking areas or rent from Center 90 or somewhere else. I don't know, but I think it's not really working very well the way it is. And to reduce it even more is going to be a big problem. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your input. Okay, would anyone else like to speak against this general development plan? Second call for any others wishing to speak against. Third and final call for anyone else wishing to speak against this project. All right, the public hearing is now closed, and I'll ask Katie Aspenson to introduce this item to the Plan Commission this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. So this planned unit development request is to allow for deviations and exceptions to code standards for the proposed addition to the St. Patrick Elementary School. In particular, the request is to allow for the following deviations: to reduce the total number of parking stalls required, to waive the installation of landscaped parking lot islands, and to reduce the building setback to 15 foot on the western side of the parcel, as well as acknowledge existing reduced setbacks throughout the property. And I will go into detail about each of those requests as we hit those items. There are a variety of standards that need to be reviewed. Places of worship in elementary schools are both permitted and permitted with standards within this district. The site meets all of the necessary density requirements. The PUD is required to complement existing adjacent uses. Surrounding development includes single-family residences and commercial businesses. There are no requested deviations. Neither are there any requested deviations as they are compatible with the lot area. Pertaining to yard setbacks, there are two tables within our code. One requires a 20-foot setback for all church and ancillary uses. And then we have section 13.02.62E1 requires that all of the places of worship have a minimum of a 40-foot setback from the property line. The current church and the rectory are within the 40-foot setback. This development does not include any modifications to the church and none are planned for the future. The elementary school is also within the 40-foot setback, but generally adheres to the 20-foot property line setback, which can be confusing. The applicant is requesting to reduce the setback on the western property line right where the addition is down to 15 feet, but then to accommodate that school addition. So when this structure was originally built, it was prior to the city having a unified development code. So this property is considered non-conforming. If you approve this condition tonight, you would be bringing the church and the elementary school in conformance with our setback requirements, as they would be unique to this particular property. The applicant has designed the addition with the least amount of impact to neighbors. They're not installing lights on that western wall, and due to slope changes, a good portion of the building will be built into the hillside. They will also be required to do screening along that western boundary that's compliant with the code. So city staff are in support of this request. There are no deviations related to height, environmental design, and common open space. Elementary schools require a minimum of 10% of dedicated open space. Today, there is 18.2% of the parcel, so they exceed our minimum requirement to date. Architecture has also been included in your packet. Related to parking, there are three principal uses serving this facility, all which require parking stalls: place of worship, an elementary school, as well as an indoor recreational facility or their gymnasium. The total required parking based on each one of those separate uses totals to 251 parking stalls. To date, there are existing permanent 50 stalls that are painted. The applicant is not going to be removing any of that parking. They have to maintain the parking that is installed today. Based on any shared parking agreements that the city is aware of, existing parking that is there today, and the playground area that they routinely park on for church events, they have 127 stalls that can be used for this development. So the applicant acknowledges that the site today has limited parking availability with only the 50 permanent parking stalls. There's no additional area available to be parked on site. And currently the parking needs for the facility are generally met by parking in the paved playground area when school is not in session, as well as an agreement with a neighbor for shared parking and street parking. Approximately 40 stalls can be provided on the playground area and approximately 37 stalls at the neighboring commercial business, a Better Hearing Center. On average, attendance at St. Patrick's Parish for our service is between 300 to 400 individuals, which was given to me by the applicant, which would require up to 80 spaces. With available parking today, approximately 650 people could be accommodated with what they have today. So what that is stating is that if all of those parking spots were used, approximately 650 people could be in attendance at church, which is more than what they typically see. City staff are in support of the request to reduce the amount of parking required for St. Patrick's Parish and the elementary school. The original structure was constructed in 1951 with an addition in 1960, which both were prior to the adoption of our zoning code. With later additions, the site became not conforming in regard to how much parking stalls were required, and parking agreements were previously required by the city. As the site has been operational in its current capacity since 2003, with another addition that occurred to the kitchen in 2013, and efforts to secure additional off-street parking, the city staff are in support of this request. The city will require that any agreement with Better Hearing Center or a different entity has to be formalized in accordance with the UDC, as well as any previous agreements. Any future additions would require modification to this PUD deviation. There are no requested deviations related to streets, utilities, and drainage, traffic calming, circulation, and access. Regarding landscaping, the applicant is requesting to not install landscape islands every 15 stalls or at the ends of interior drive aisles due to limited parking that's serving the development. So that is focusing on the 50 stall parking lot that currently serves today. If they were to insert in those parking lot islands, they would lose more parking than they have. And based on the feedback we've received this evening and from other individuals, I believe that maintaining the maximum amount of parking on site that they have is of utmost importance. Therefore, city staff are in support of this request. Additionally, all of the minimum landscaping requirements pertaining to just providing landscaping and all of the new trees, they will have to follow all of the other regulations and rules that we have in the Unified Development Code. There are also no requested deviations pertaining to signage. City staff have put together a total of 12 conditions of approval for this development. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Katie. It is the pleasure of the Plan Commission this evening. Please let the record show Jan Brock has joined the meeting, and Jan, we are on item number 8.
I'll make a motion to approve for the general development plan application to create a plan unit development, facilitate proposed addition to the St. Patrick Elementary School, as well as site improvements and request deviations from the Unified Development Code, including but not limited to reducing the total number of parking stalls required, waiving the installation of landscape parking lot islands, and reducing the building setback requirements located at 127 11th Avenue North, tax parcel number 18-1500-0 with the 12 conditions of approval.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Mike Milky. It's been seconded by Bill Lethan to approve this general development plan with the 12 conditions. Discussion, Tom Smith.
I have a question. I'm okay with all of it except for the parking. I think the parking is a challenge, and I heard Mr. Beerling talking about his concern with the parking, and I think in this documentation, one of the conditions is an agreement with him or his organization to allow that parking to continue. And it sounds like he's not, he's concerned about the issue of parking. And so one of the questions I had is, if he's not as supportive of doing that in the future, would this stop that project?
We'll let Katie answer that question.
Not necessarily. We would obviously encourage the property owner and the church to continue to work with additional businesses that are in the area, such as Center 90 or the post office, to try and provide that. And if you would recognize better Mr. Verling, he may be able to better answer your question.
Sure. Mr. Verling, we can recognize you to speak.
I'm sorry, what?
we can recognize you to speak. It's not customary that we have additional dialogue,
No, I
but in this
understand.
case, we'll allow you to give some,
Get your
My name
perspective.
we want to hear what you have to say. Yeah.
Okay, well, there's a couple things. First of all, on any Sunday morning, our lot is pretty full of church parking. That's fine. I have no issue with that. It's during the week when we need our own parking lot for our own customers. Also, what people probably don't understand is 15 of our spots are on a long-term lease to Gerard for their building that evidently they were able to mitigate the parking thing and then get a lease before I bought the building. So I inherited this thing. So 15 of those spots belong to them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And people think from the church that they can just slip in over at the far corner. That's leased. And there are signs by all of our driveways that say this is private parking, but of course, nobody seems to
Okay.
recognize
Thank you.
that.
Thank you for that.
But, so we really don't have spaces to lease to the church. And currently we have no arrangement with the church. Although people that I asked to park elsewhere, one woman told me the other day that I had a contract with the church so she could park there. And I said, I'm sorry, we do not have that arrangement. I don't know where you got your
Okay.
information.
Okay, thank you.
So-
Katie, did you want to add something?
So this is one of the reasons why we would want to have a formalized parking agreement as opposed to just a verbal. So if it is to allow the users of the church to use the not 15 stalls that are tied to the other property, but the balance thereof, if they're able to use that on Sundays, which if that's something that you're willing to allow
We'll
them.
see those 15 or not.
Right,
large
excluding the,
machine.
yep.
So they just park wherever. So far, that has not been a problem.
Right.
And that's okay with me.
So this would be formalizing that agreement so that there are no questions related to when the church would have the opportunity to use those properties, and the contract that the woman would be referring to would actually exist if you're willing to do that. But that's something that would occur outside of the session. We would be working with the applicant to make sure they're providing parking.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. Verling.
That's what I wanted to get at, just making sure that everybody's in agreement of what the final approach is before we go for it. Okay, thank you.
So Katie, I want to pull on that for a minute, just if I can. So part of the plan staff prep packet justification was that the church had coordinated with local business to provide that parking. But as I understand the gentleman, that coordination is verbal at best and perhaps seen differently than the packet would have us think, and perhaps as the business owner would have us think. And nothing here that we do formalizes any agreement for or against, or does it because that's part of the justification of the packet that we're approving?
It would not formalize it. So the condition is to state that they would have to formalize something specific to the Sunday parking, not necessarily outside of it, which is when they're looking at doing. I was unaware of the 15 stalls until this evening.
Yeah.
So you'd want to subtract that off of what they would have for the available parking. But again, if parking continues to be an issue, there are other avenues that they can take and businesses to work with to gain additional. So if it doesn't end up working, they would need to find those stalls elsewhere.
So that would be a condition if I think this is maybe an obvious question, but I just want to ask it for the forum. So if one of the conditions that we put on is that coordination for that parking exists, and the gentleman here were to not agree, then St. Pat's would have to find those spaces. And then if not, then this would not be ultimately approved because the condition's not met.
It's possible that they would need to hold or pause on the application until they were able to provide whatever parking it is that they need to do.
Okay. So I hear that there's a built-in mechanism to help alleviate the parking problem. It's just a matter of where exactly that's executed.
So condition number 4 states that all parking agreements to adhere to the requirements set forth in section 13.03.21.B.13. And that specifically calls out, it has to be a recorded legal document. It has to be signed by all the parties in order to create it. So it's the intent of this is for any parking agreement, if there is a past or a future, it has to follow these standards so that we don't create these problems in the future.
Thank you, because that's what we did with Keeper Goods too, if I remember correctly. They didn't have enough parking spots, so they contracted with the church next door to help alleviate that. But they came to us with that agreement in place versus we hope to.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the commission?
Just for clarification, your list of the parking spots on page, whatever it is, 25, that hasn't actually, they're not actually reducing their number of spaces from what they had, are they? Or
They're not going to lose any parking stalls. The purpose of that table is to show you how many different stalls would be required for each use. So if you add them all up, the argument is that the elementary schools and the indoor rec space is happening at a different time than when the place of worship is occurring, so that not all of them need to occur. And this has been standard practice for what we did with another church facility that had a school, of acknowledging when the different uses would be using them so that they're essentially double counting them.
Thank you for that. Mike, did you still have your?
Yeah, I'm just curious, what is the parking like on 11th Avenue North? Is that something where everyone's parking before church and things like that? I'm just curious. Do we know?
Okay, I'm gonna go here a little history here. So, you know, the church has been there a long time. We've replaced the street on 11th Avenue. When there's events at the church, it's parked full. The street's full, the neighborhood's full. They're parked on Main Street. They park down toward 10th Avenue South. I mean, it's full. When they have a full event, it is full. And I think it should be a long-term goal of the church to work towards some better parking. I know the church stated in meetings with the applicant that they do work on it. They try and announce things. The one thing I point out with this application today is it doesn't take any way, does not improve their parking situation, but does not hurt their existing parking situation, which obviously we've heard from adjoining landowners that they are not, they have some problems with it. But really, they're taking some of their green space and turning it into part of more schools. So we're not, and I think the school, if they're adding on to the church, I would say yes, they'd probably be adding more spaces on Sunday and making things worse. But I think during the school week, and I know the church does have functions, obviously funerals and things like that during the school week that double book the area. But really what you have in front of you tonight, the school itself, in my mind, doesn't add a whole lot to the parking situation. It's already bad, but it's not making it worse. But just as a history there, and just in general, what we see with parking is you can secure spots in Center 90 and people will still walk the shortest distance between 2 points, no matter what it is, whether it's legal, illegal, they'll in the yellow, they'll do whatever, because that's what human nature is. So, but it is, if you go down there at any different time, during school, there'll be staff parked on the street. Just, that's what they do, because they leave the church lot open a lot of times, because they'll have either funerals or things like that they'll leave the church lot open. So.
I'd like to answer your question. I'm a parishioner at St. Pat's, so you're exactly right. Throughout every business, sir, thank you for what you do on the weekends. To Jared's point's well taken for me, that the problem I don't think compounds based on Sunday attendance not overlapping with school attendance and vice versa. So the problem is there, it's real, and it pinches, but I don't think this will compound a bad problem. It just highlights it in this meeting that one exists.
Okay, thank you for that discussion. Anyone else from the commission make a comment or question? Okay, the motion on the floor is to approve this general development plan for St. Patrick's school expansion with the 12 conditions. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. This motion passes unanimously. Thank you for that. Thank you, everyone, for your input. Item number 9 is a certified survey map application to subdivide a large, a single parcel of land into 4 parcels of land. This is a total of 6.07 acres. It's located at 475 Century Place. This is tax parcel ID number 186302-1, and the applicant is DNC Holdings LLC. Katie, can you introduce this item?
Thank you, Mayor. Before you this evening is the property owner intends to subdivide 1 parcel into 4 parcels of land to allow for the construction of the remaining Century Place development. The CSM illustrates the location of the proposed multifamily apartments and garages. The proposed parcel meet the dimensional requirements as specified in the previously approved planned unit development. City staff have put 7 conditions of approval together with this development.
Thank you for that, Katie. What is the desire of the Plan Commission?
I'll make a motion to approve the certification survey map application to subdivide a single parcel of land into 4 parcels of land for a total of 6.07 acres total, located at 475 Century Place, tax parcel number 18-6302-1, as stated in agenda number 9 with 7 conditions.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Tom Smith. It's been seconded by Eric Archer to approve this certified survey map with the 7 conditions. Is there any discussion? Not seeing or hearing any. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item number 10 is final implementation plan application to create a planned unit development to facilitate a proposed addition to the St. Patrick Elementary School, as well as the site improvements and request deviations from the Unified Development Code, including but not limited to reducing the total number of parking stalls required, waiving the installation of the landscape parking lot islands, and reducing the building setback requirements located at 127 11th Avenue North. This is tax parcel ID number 18-1500-0. The applicants are Borton Construction Incorporated and St. Patrick's Parish. Let's see, Katie.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the final implementation, the second portion of the planned unit development request that is under review for this evening. I would refer to my discussion for the general development plan in agenda item number 8. There are 3 requested deviations and city staff are in support of all 3. We have put together 11 conditions of approval for this development. Thank you.
Thank you for that. That being said, what is the pleasure of the commission?
I'll make a motion to approve the final implementation plan application, creating a planned unit development, facilitating a proposed addition to the St. Patrick Elementary School, as well as site improvements and request deviations from the Unified Development Code, including but not limited to reducing the total number of parking stalls required, waiving the installation of landscape parking lot islands, reducing the building setback requirements located at 127 11th Avenue North in tax parcel 18-1500-0 with the 11 conditions as outlined in agenda item 10.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Eric Archer. It's been seconded by Mike Milky to approve the final implementation plan with the 11 conditions. Is there any discussion? Not seeing any. The motion on the floor is to approve this plan with the 11 conditions. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item number 11 is a certified survey map application to subdivide a single parcel of land into 2 parcels of land. This is a total of 0.5 acres. It's located at 2410 Thomas Court. It is to facilitate the construction of a new single-family dwelling. This is tax parcel ID number 18-4142-0, and the applicant is Hoffer LLC. Katie, can you give us a summary of this item?
Thank you, Mayor. Before you this evening is a request from a property owner to subdivide a single parcel that is zoned R2 into 2 parcels. There is currently a single-family dwelling on this parcel today. The second parcel would meet all the dimensional requirements of the R2 district. City staff have put together 9 conditions of approval for this development.
Okay. Commission?
All right, I've never done this before, but I'm gonna make a motion to not approve it so that we can discuss.
Okay. The motion is to deny the application. Is there a second? Okay, the motion dies for a lack of a second. Do we have a different motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the certified map application to subdivide single partial land into two partial lands. Total of 0.5 acres located at 2410 Thomas Court to facilitate the construction of a single family dwelling at tax partial 18-4142-0 as stated in item number 11 with the 9 conditions. Go ahead.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Tom Smith to approve the CSM with 9 conditions. It's been seconded by Eric Archer. Discussion.
I'm looking at the drawing that you guys put together, and it looks to me like there's a gap.
Can you pull your microphone a little more in?
Looks to me like there's a gap of just 6 feet between the existing house and the proposed new property line between lot 1 and 2.
That is correct. And it is code compliant
It's code compliant.
because this is a corner parcel. So they have 3 different opportunities to hit that 30-foot rear yard setback. In some instances on a corner, the rear yard setback is actually out to the street. So in this instance, it looks as though they have the 25-foot off the south side of Thomas Court, the 30-foot as Thomas Court arcs north. In addition to the 6-foot is a standard side yard setback for a single family residence. So this current lot 1 is compliant as today, and their proposed lot 2, in order to instruct a new single family dwelling, would be allowed and code compliant.
Okay, Jan, welcome.
So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but even though the front door and the driveway faces south?
Yes, corners are special in the city of Onalaska. So they have a they have to have a minimum of 25 feet in the front. But if that 25 becomes 30, they can count it as their rear yard. What happens when they do that is they lose the ability to do detached accessory structures, which is usually the case, but depending on, and I don't have the exact setbacks of what's on the western and eastern side. If they have a 30-foot there, they might be able to install some rear yard, but what they're doing is allowed.
All right, I'm bringing this up too. I was out there, there's an awful lot of landscaping to build a house on that second piece of property that in my opinion, looked like it was gonna have to be removed. Am I looking at it wrong, Jared?
No, I mean, I think what's gonna happen with this lot, obviously, is zoned R2, you're gonna get a twin window put on here. It would be what I would guess with the zoning. But yeah, they can clear whatever they want on the lot. They can, it's not, those houses were actually annexed into the city in 1991. So those houses were built in the 70s. So they were actually built to township standards. That's the reason a lot of those lots out there, you can see these subdivisions come in because they were built to have septic systems on them. So they've actually,
Okay, Jan?
They do have city sewer and water.
Yeah,
Jan,
yeah,
pull your microphone up a little closer.
They do have city sewer and water though.
they do. That is correct.
Okay, any other questions? Jared?
I would like to make a friendly amendment to the conditions and add one condition that the owner to install water and sanitary sewer laterals to the new lot 2 at owner's cost. I missed that during the review of the
I'll second that.
conditions. So,
We have an amendment on the floor. It's been made by Jared Holter, seconded by Tom Smith to make the amendment that the owner would add the sewer and water laterals to the new lot at their expense. Katie, does that meet your needs? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, that is the amendment. Is there any discussion on the amendment? Okay, let's go ahead and vote on the amendment then to add that 5th condition. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say no. Okay, so we now have 5 conditions,
And 10 conditions.
or what? Oh, I'm on the wrong line, jeez. Did we need a public hearing?
Thank you.
Okay, we're up to 10 conditions.
Okay.
All right, back to the original motion to approve the CSM with 10 conditions. Now, is there any more discussion? Jan?
One more question. I noticed that the original home, the existing home is for sale.
Yeah.
So he's planning on selling it, but then is there a, what do you call it, disclosure thing that the new owner would know that that's, no, I mean, it's gonna be close, really close, to your point. That's
If
re-
the certified survey map is approved by the Plan Commission and Common Council, it will get recorded at the county. And it'll be a new vacant lot that is available for development.
Okay, any other discussion?
I guess I had a question about, Jared mentioned that he thinks a twin door is going to go in. In the background, it says it's allowing for the construction of a new single-family dwelling. Is that, oh, good.
Yep, that would be a Katie question.
The Twindo was for the original rezoning request. This is, he has a single family dwelling there today and he wants to build another single family dwelling next door. So it would
Okay.
be infill development of one dwelling unit.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, we'll have the vote. The vote is to approve. If you're in favor of approving this certified survey map with the 10 conditions. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against, say no.
No,
Okay, the voting, how many people do we have? 1, 2,
3, 4, 5. You.
6-1. I get a vote.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the motion passes with a 6-1 vote. Okay, item 12, special exception application to deviate from section 7.0713B2 of the Code of Ordinances to allow a mural on the primary facade of a structure located at 215 Main Street. This is tax parcel ID number 181090. The applicant is Wing Dam Properties LLC. Katie.
Thank you, Mayor. The applicant intends to install a painted mural on the primary front street facade of 215 Main Street that would wrap onto the side facades. Murals are not permitted on the primary facade of a building, which defined for the purposes of the building elevation that directly faces an adjacent street right-of-way and is the primary customer entrance. However, the ordinance does allow the use of special exceptions to provide deviations on a case-by-case basis. The Mural Review Committee had reviewed the request and have approved the proposed mural. We considered the following standards: that the location and scale of the mural is in keeping with and will enhance the structure on which it is located. The proposed mural is well integrated with the building's facade and other elements of the property and enhances the architecture or aesthetics of the structure and or wall. The proposed mural by design, construction, and location will not have a substantial adverse effect on the abutting property owner or the permitted uses thereof. The request does not allow prohibited mural content, and the special exception request would not create a safety hazard to traffic. The Mural Review Committee found that all 5 standards have been met with the proposal. City staff have put together 4 conditions of approval for this project. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Katie. Well, with that said, what is the pleasure of the committee?
I'll make a motion to approve the special exception application to deviate from section 7-07-13-B-2 of the Code of Ordinances, allowing a mural on the primary facade of the structure located at 215 Main Street, with the 4 exceptions as outlined in agenda item 12.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Eric Archer. It's been seconded by Mike Milky to approve the special exception for the mural with the 4 conditions. Is there any other discussion? Jan?
If we make a special exception for this, how difficult is it? I mean, we just had the folks from Holman Lindsay in. I understood what we did there, but if we get more of these requests, will we need to make special exceptions for those too?
Go ahead, Katie.
Or each one is considered individually?
Each one is considered individual and you'd review it on a case-by-case basis. It's if they wanted to deviate from the standards associated with the mural requirements. You're seeing it for you this evening because they want to put it on the primary facade, which is currently not allowed unless you get a special exception. So if we continue to see more mural work that wants to be on the primary facade, you may continue to see applications and you would review them on a case-by-case basis.
Just a follow-up question on that.
Mhm.
Say, what provision do we have in our ordinances for maintenance of this mural?
They are required to provide a maintenance agreement, and that we have, I believe, a lease agreement on file that includes maintenance of the facility.
And those
So.
are enforceable?
Mhm.
I'm sorry, good question.
And that's more typically between the property owner than the city because it's on their building, so they are ultimately responsible for their structure and what they choose to put on it.
Okay, it's on their building. That would include the new, if the building were to change hands,
Yes.
that the agreement runs with the building.
And it also refers to, I mean, if it got removed, then it would no longer be there and it would no longer be responsible for its maintenance. But they are required to keep the mural maintained.
Katie,
Okay, any other questions? Go ahead, Eric.
I think about this deeply for a minute, just because I don't know if there's a more primary facade in the district or in the district school board in the city, other than this one. This is prominent in our downtown. The 5 standards outlined on that first page of the commission staff report, those are our standards as well that we're assessing tonight. Is that the ones of the mural review committee when it says standard met, standard met, standard met? Whose assessment is that?
I didn't hear the last
Sure,
portion.
I'm sorry. So the bottom of the staff report, the standards, the 5 standards that I understand that we're evaluating tonight in terms of an exception, the right column says standard met. And I think I heard that the mural review committee assessed those standards to be met.
Correct.
So they're evaluating the same standards we are, just through an artistic lens.
Yes, and they're also making sure that there's no prohibited content located within it. So before the mural review committee reviews any mural in the city, as a mural permit accompanied this application, we reviewed it initially and found that it was compliant with the code, and then it comes forward to the plan commission for consideration.
Okay. I'm disappointed perhaps just for me that we didn't have a better rendering. So that one of the conditions for us is well integrated into the facade and its design. And I would love personally to see something a bit more formal than that pencil drawing, just so I can make that assessment on my own. I have a hard time being armed to make a good decision about that criteria. I don't know the artist or their portfolio, who they are. On Alaska, Art Keepers are amazing. If you go to their website, they're supported by pillars of our community. They do incredible work. Also, some of their artwork is done by the board members on the board. So I wonder if by approving this, we're also approving the artists who might be a part of the organization requesting approval. So my only difficulty today is that criteria of how well integrated it is, it's hard for me to get to with a pencil drawing, especially when it's on a building so prominent in our downtown. For better or for worse, this will fundamentally shape the character of our downtown with a mural that is that big on that building. And I feel like I have good detail to make that decision.
And we have no size requirements for murals, so they can be as large as an entity or the property owner would want them to be.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, any other questions?
I have kind of a procedural thing. Joyce Dively said that the crane was coming in tomorrow to start working on this thing.
Well,
My understanding is even if we approve it, the city council has the opportunity to deny it, right?
okay, well, that isn't really relevant to our discussion. I don't feel, I mean, that's not for us to say
No,
what
I
they're doing.
suppose, but
But maybe Katie wants to address the procedural.
The plan commission has the authority to decide on special exceptions to the mural ordinance. So if you approve it tonight, it is approved.
okay.
It only goes to the common council if there is an appeal of the plan commission's decision. And I doubt they would appeal it if you were to approve it this evening. So that's why she referenced that they would begin tomorrow if they got the approval tonight,
Okay.
which would be allowed.
So I feel the weight of approving this, knowing that there's not a common council assessment after this. And just for me, and I can be off, right? But this is such a change to our downtown area. I just want us to be very deliberate if it's from this to starting tomorrow, essentially. That's forefront in my mind, I guess, different than some of the other decisions we've made. And I do just, again, with the pencil drawing, I can't vote yes tonight because I don't know enough to make that call for something that would be so dramatically affecting our downtown.
Okay, is there any other discussion?
I think one nice thing about this that we have in front of us today with this mural is there's no signs on it, so we don't have the, kind of the, I guess, things that weren't correct the last one. So I do appreciate that they followed the correct, protocol, that we have the, rendering, even though it's not up to maybe some people's standards of what it's going to look like. But just to know that there's not signs on the building is great. So that we know that this is within, the ordinances and has been approved by everyone else that's part of that mural committee as well.
Thank you for that, Mike. Anyone else? Jan?
It's just a dumb question, but I noticed this the other night when I was reading it. Why is the property owner not, did the property owner make the application? It looks like the application was filed by the Onalaska Art Keepers. Not that I know anything about that, but
That's allowed.
is that
All the property,
oftentimes done?
it's very common
Oh.
that the applicant would do something on behalf of a property owner. The property owner has signed the application, which is all that is required. And they are in favor, obviously, of the mural.
Well, it'd be like Borton and St. Pat's.
It'd be like Borton applying on behalf of St. Pat. Yes.
And I think it's just a concept drawing. I don't think it's intended that that's what it's gonna look like.
Would there be another level of scrutiny between the concept drawing and painting though?
Not that I know of.
So for all intents and purposes, this is the final. I don't mean to belabor.
I wasn't involved in the Katie would have to answer that question. I wasn't involved in any conversation prior to.
So I believe that the intent is to make it look as the rendering that is in your packet. There may be some deviations from it, but that is the intent of what the final result is supposed to look like.
Well, my only comment to maybe keep things calm is the other stuff that Joyce Dively has done for the city to make it more beautiful has all been good.
Very much.
Oh, definitely.
So, I mean, throwing our trust in her, in my opinion, isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Okay, any other discussion? The motion on the floor is to approve the special exception application for the mural with the 4 conditions. Debating if we should just go to roll call so that I don't have to struggle with finding. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no.
No.
Okay, so we have 6 in favor and 1 in against. Is that correct? All right, thank you. The motion passes. Thank you for that, everyone. Thank you for the good discussion. Item 13 is adjournment.
I'll make a
Okay.
motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor to adjourn by Tom Smith, seconded by Eric Archer. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. We are adjourned. The time is 7:21. Thank you, everyone.